I've got the Greatest Hits Elite Shawn Michaels here in his WrestleMania 14 attire. Always grateful when they do one of these remakes of an older figure. Great chance to grab something you didn't get. Unfortunately, this one I did have the first release, thus making this one pretty much worthless. But it is interesting to see them together, just to see how massive the older packaging was. It's a much bigger box. And depending on what you like with your collectibles, if you like in the box, a lot better pictures of Shawn Michaels on the box, and a lot bigger bio about that WrestleMania 14 match, plus a full body shot of him here in this exact attire and hairstyle. So I'll have to take the loss on this one. Nobody's going to want the older one now, unfortunately. But I can keep it in the packaging because it is nice packaging, actually. So it's not a complete loss. But what we will take note of is the face of the older figure here, because we'll see some facial printing with the Greatest Hits release. And right on the back there with his little bio bit, much smaller than the other one, but right here we see the WWF Championship of the time. He doesn't come with it. I guess just too much with the entrance gear. But I would like to have the title because I don't have that older WWF Championship, because I don't really collect the golden era that it's from with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior and such. Because we got Shawn Michaels' last Attitude Era match represented here. So again, with my older release, some of the figures were missing his little hairy chest on the bottom part of the torso. So we got that full detail there. And we got all his braids with the red bits there and a facial printing Shawn Michaels' face. So again, a step up from that one. So a re-release, but also an improvement from that older figure. We also get the extra elbow articulation that the older figure release wouldn't have as well. So quite a few bonuses with this one. And here we have the entrance gear that is extremely detailed. Although the real one did have like some red bits kind of mixed in there. Every other kind of checkerboard of it. So I guess that was a little too much to ask from old Mattel. But it is still a pretty cool piece here. It's kind of like got a black wash over it to give it those details. And then the pants part is its own piece. We can see. But of course it's kind of the stiffer plastic, so you're not going to be able to do much with the legs with that on it. The vest doesn't look very hindering at all. But this is definitely entrance Shawn Michaels with his hair all done up, where it kind of got loose. We got the wrist bands here up to the hand tape. His tattoo here, and then we'll get the gear off to see the wrestling gear. But just wanted to say this was kind of the Shawn Michaels I knew from watching that old WrestleMania tape and kind of watching the Attitude Era after this point. And from the video games of the time that still included Shawn Michaels in them, like WrestleMania 2000. Although the entrance gear weirdly was like a gold color, so I always kind of wondered maybe it just looked too reflective on their kind of poorer quality video, and that's what they went by. I'd say this darker bit with the silver is a little more matching to that tire, even though it doesn't have all the little colors that the real one would have. But I only got to see Shawn wrestle in video games and VHS tapes. So we'll see how easy this comes off. It doesn't look easy to get off. How would you get this off? Oh, okay. We got to seam down the legs so we can bust that off there. I was going to say this is going to be rough. So that straps around each leg and around the back, so we got the piece coming off right there. And we have fists. But he does come with two open hands, so we could maybe hold a title or something if we did get one at a later date. But we got the wrestling attire, this kind of old school Heartbreak Kid logos, but with the DX over top of it. We got Degeneration HBK on the butt. And he does have his boot details kind of with the little hearts in there too. They're just kind of painted on, not any like molded bit really. It works for me. Again, I base so much of my collection off of the video games that WrestleMania 2000 and WWF No Mercy had this attire, because it was kind of his last championship match and defense, and then that title was gone the very next night into the Attitude Era style one. So a huge turning point, very easy to identify the change, because even the title belt changed appearance. It's too bad, because he looks pretty good with the newer one that would come right after he was gone. So I did have this other Elite Shawn Michaels here. You can see definitely different hairstyle, the loose hairstyle, but I think this is one, the black is in WWF No Mercy possibly. So probably why I jumped on that one, but you can see a huge difference with the faces. With this newer one, even outside of the hair difference, the facial printing goes a long way in making it look really like them. So this one is cool. The entrance gear is a little weird with just the pieces being from a different match, of course. But he does look good with maybe just like a DX kind of flap shirt with Triple H and China making the old DX. I've certainly wondered if maybe Iron Mike Tyson might get made sometime to kind of complete this main event scene for WrestleMania 14. Certainly would be an option, possibly. It would certainly fit into my collection as well, just because that was such a huge moment defining the next stage of the Attitude Era with Stone Cold Steve Austin. But of course, that elite articulation is going to let us do all sorts of Shawn poses if we want. But I will say the older one kind of had the cooler pose and box. But if you're like me, I just open up the figures, so the greatest hits is definitely one to get. You're going to get the full detail and the facial printing. But I also just picked it up because it was in those old wrestling video games, and that's why I base so much of my collection on all my Attitude Era and 90s action figures that I collect here, that I open up and show off as I get them. So if you want to relive the war in action figure form, this is where to be, because I get WCW figures as well. Oh, my back!